Since the first television began to illuminate our homes with dancing colors and flickering lights, we have watched, absorbing, studying, imitating. We are the Channel Changelings, and we are here.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hello and welcome back to Channel Changelings. I am Greg Afancine, and with me today is Bunny Black and my co-host Dan. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. Now, I want to talk to you about your latest project called Frankenbabes. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what Frankenbabes is all about?
Yes. So Frankenbabes is a indie short horror film, very campy, set in, I would say, probably like the 1980s or so. And the premise is a corrupt priest and mortician work together on a serum that brings back women from the dead. And they choose probably the worst group of women to test try this project out on, and it doesn't really go as planned.
It sounds like a fun time. It does. And I know one of the influences is Frankenhooker, which I absolutely love the movie Frankenhooker. I think that is just one of those great Hen and Letter. That's his name, right? I believe. Movies. It's just insane. So so with that influences Frankenhooker and Weird Science and Kill Bill and all these other influences on the movie, what was it like being in that setting in general?
So this was definitely my first time in a project of this scope. For it being a short film with a runtime of maybe about 8 to 10 minutes in total, there's so much in terms of production that kind of goes into it. We had a set of easily 100 people with just hands on deck with, staging things, working different bits of machinery and things that I had no idea were part of what goes into getting that perfect shot. People running cast members back and forth, people in the makeup department, people everywhere all at once, honestly. So it was definitely a bit of a surreal experience, but I had a blast. It was very informative, and I think it was, for what it was, a pretty tight ship.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a fun, just like you had a fun time and all that. And with being on the set and everything, like you said, it's only an 8 to 10 minute long short. Who was like somebody you were really looking forward to working with that's in the short? I know Dan mentioned that Dana Ashbrook from Twin Peaks, who I love, is in it. And who else was the Gary? Who was it, Dan?
Jimmy Simpson.
Jamie Simpson. I thought you said Gary. Jamie Simpson. What was it like working with those? And was there somebody that you were just like really excited to work with on the set of the short?
So funny enough, I am a bit out of the loop when it comes to horror and things. I do not think that Andrew selected me for this project at all based on my background in horror. I'm a cosplay girly. I stick to anime and video games. That's where my wheelhouse is for the most part.
All good.
But we had worked together on some other just independent like social media-esque things before, and me and Andrew's chemistry is always really great. He's a great guy, and we get along really well. So when he reached out to me, I was like, absolutely, I'd love, an opportunity just to, hang out with you and the guys, if nothing else. So I was probably one of the people on set who, when they were like, well, these are our celebrity choices, I was like, that sounds like they're really important, and I'm very happy. That's probably worked in my favor too. No one likes, a starstruck cast.
That's true.
But it did also end up with the days for the girls who were monsters. It took us so long to get into a lot of the prosthetics that we had, that a lot of the scenes that had Dana and I'm blanking on the other guy's name right now. Wow.
Jamie.
Jimmy. So a lot of the scenes that had Dana and Jimmy, we actually weren't there for. They actually ended up extending it into like a third day of filming, which was majority their scenes. I definitely saw them kind of like out and about between scenes. There was a point in time where I think Data was on like a skateboard. I'm like, where did you get that?
That's cool. That's cool.
But they definitely seem like really lovely people. From the little bit of time that I got to spend around them, because it was very much like a go in the chair, get in your makeup, get on set, go back to the chair, fix your makeup, get back on set. So there wasn't a whole lot of downtime for us.
I get
Speaking of
that.
makeup, the makeup effects that you have in the teaser trailer that's out right now are gorgeous, and I know it's a real colorful movie. What's the inspiration behind Stitches?
So I think that Stitches definitely pulls from a lot of like Pam Grier, like blaxploitation era. It definitely fits in well with the 80s vibe. I love an afro. So when I saw that as part of the design, I was like, oh, hell yeah, let me get a really big afro. I was actually going to have like a zombified pick that I was going to have and play with in certain scenes, but unfortunately I move around a lot, and the haptics of it like potentially like falling out or something, it was just kind of like it's too distracting at that point. But I definitely think that that's kind of the era of inspiration for sure.
No, that's cool. I mean, I'm a sucker for something set in the 80s. I'm a huge fan of like the 80s movies and stuff like that in general. So that makes me feel very, very excited, especially Pam Grier. I mean, come on, Pam Grier.
Pam
right?
Grier.
Right? Definitely.
How do you say no to
definitely.
that? You know,
Exactly.
so I
You
hope
can't
that I
say
did
no.
her proud in my horror counterpart to some of those legendary roles we know her for.
Yes. And speaking of which, what was it like being all, made up as this like zombie monster-esque type character with the girls, and you and these girls just like running amok and doing what you do in the movie?
I had an absolute blast. So, with my background as being a cosplayer, I was actually very well suited for this role because this is far from the first time I've been in prosthetics. This was definitely maybe like the longest piece of prosthetic that I've ever been in. It quite literally goes from like my hairline all the way down to my vagina. And so I was like sitting in such a way where like I was trying really hard not to like bend at the hip because I didn't want to start causing like creases in it. So in between takes, I was like kind of levitating on the chair best I could. I think that the makeup artists were really impressed, and they were expecting me to need a lot more touch-ups than I was. And I said, no, I'm very used to this song and dance, and I will not make life harder for either of us. But it was definitely really cool to like not only just be in such a big piece that required, multiple people working on me at one point, but seeing like everybody else, and especially when we get to Hex and Melissa's character, the Twisted Sisters, that is just a piece of engineering that I would have never thought of myself, and it's so cool to see it come to life.
That just sounds amazing. It truly is. I love the hearing the behind the scenes and stuff like that, and making a movie, even a short. It's just a short, just like you said, you don't realize how much actually goes into it, even if it's only 8 to 10 minutes long. It's amazing to hear. What was like one of your favorite things to do on set? Just like filming,
outside of just
whatever.
being a goober and messing with people. I would definitely say it was really fun doing a scene that we have towards the end where we're kind of just all going crazy all at once. And I think that was really fun to film, just the chaos. I got to like just take things on set and rip them up and throw them around and just cause havoc and throw bottles and break glass and break away glass. We were all safe. Don't worry. We had a safety meeting and everything. But it was just a lot of chaos, and that's definitely my place of zen, I would say.
I do. I love hearing that because it sounds like it was just a fun time in general, all around on the
And it
movie.
looks gory as can be. The little there's a 30-second teaser trailer. I believe it's at Bowser Vids right now, the director on YouTube. You can look it up, and it finishes with some Dead Alive type level blood splatter at the end.
It's just egregious is the word that I would use in the best way possible. Just if you've ever seen The Substance, it's giving just why is that much blood involved? Because why not is a better
Well,
question. That was definitely because that's definitely like one of those one shot, one take kind of things. Like you're covered in blood, and that's kind of it for you for the day. So it was insane just having it all just coming at you, and you know that like you just gotta grin and bear it and try your best to open your eyes and see the best you can because this is it. You just got to get it. So that's probably the only part of the short that was just kind of like, well, we got it. Let's pray that we got it the way we wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't go wrong with like just a good old fashioned bloody bloodbath of end of a movie. Just
Amen.
that's just like blood, boobs, all that good stuff in the movie, right? That's
just
what
as
you
God
need.
intended. Yep.
Exactly. So did you have like any like difficulties on set that just was like, I can't figure this out, I don't know what to do here, or did you ever have one of those type of days where it's just like, ugh?
So luckily for me, I really only had one work day. It was a very long day, don't get me wrong. I think I probably clocked in 18, 19 hours. But I only had the real one day because Lord knows they weren't putting me in that big ass prosthetic again the next day, covered in blood. We had one shot. But there was a moment during part of the chaos scene where I had the idea of I was supposed to be taking a swig of my bottle, and I don't know if you would consider it a meme, but a phenomenon online where people who are very seemingly kind of like being cool or sometimes depressed, depending on the context, they'll spin the bottle cap and flick it off before they take a swig at it. And I just think that's got so much swag. And I wanted really, really badly to do that. And I must have done that shot like 5 times, and I could not get it to work on this damn bottle to the point that I think we just ended up cutting it. So that's my one difficulty. It's complete user error because I wanted to try to be extra, but I would say outside of that, most of it was pretty smooth.
Well, that's because I mean, hey, sometimes just things don't work out, right? It just happens that way. But Dan, you want to ask anything else? I mean,
Yeah, with your experience, this being your actual first short film of this capacity, do you see yourself doing more like this, more acting in the future?
I would absolutely love to. I actually recently made a friend out here in Vegas whose mom is a talent agent. And the very next day after she met me was like, hey, do you want to be an extra on a movie? And I was like, hell yeah. So I can't talk too much about that at the moment. But the director ended up really liking me a lot and put me in some pretty like key eye moments of the film. Like I didn't have like any lines and anything like to that importance, but it definitely kind of made me realize that I feel very in my element in the environment, and I would love opportunities to do more and just kind of get those chops.
yeah. To go off of that, and to go off of Frankenbabes here is, as you get into the movie industry, do you see yourself doing more like horror type movies, action movies, comedies? What would be I mean, you're like you said, you're an anime cosplayer, so what would be your, and you're still getting into it, so you have that time, but where would you see yourself wanting to get into?
I would definitely want to see myself getting into whoever wants me at this point. I'm willing to do anything, but I do really enjoy kind of like the horror-esque. I love the prosthetics. I love all the blood. I think a dream role for me maybe one day would be like a final girl for something. I would absolutely love to be like the one, struggling to stay alive and ultimately trying to triumph the evil. But yeah, I genuinely just kind of enjoy the feeling and just being on set and the camaraderie of working together to bring a production to life in general. So I don't think I'll be too picky for quite some time.
Well, that's good. I mean, it sounds like you got the smart head on your shoulders and stuff, and how to do things and how to get in there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. But with this Frankenbabes and everything, and where it's leading, do you see yourself, maybe expanding Frankenbabes? Do you see if maybe this, succeeds, maybe into talking with the director and stuff? I know you don't have control of this, but maybe turning it into a feature length or comic books or something like that in general.
Well, we had talked behind the scenes a little bit about how the short, the way that it's structured, is actually itself a pretty good proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
So that would definitely be something I would love to see, get turned into a full length thingamabob, should I have any say in it, which I'm not sure that I do, but I would absolutely love to reprise the role. I would love to see just more world building. I think the characters are so unique, and all of the girls came together to really put their own oomph to it. And I think I really just kind of fell in love with this idea, a troupe of quite literally leather dommy mommies going to leather dommy mommy con, and just kind of getting a look into their lives that I can really only surmise and kind of make up on my own as of right now. But I think it's just so interesting knowing a lot of the girls pre the project and producing and everything, and knowing how well the characters just kind of matched who they were. And I would have really just loved to see that fleshed out like as much as possible. I want it to be turned into a whole comic book series. I want merch. I want everything. I'm going to be greedy. I want it all.
Stitches on a t-shirt, right?
Exactly. Just like a really cool, like a nice t-shirt with like the actual prosthetic going down. You know how they have those t-shirts where it looks like a woman's body cut out and it's like the boobs and like the hips and everything. Imagine like a Stitches t-shirt. And I put Stitches. I'm so funny. That's not even my character's name. There is a Stitches. I should probably change that. I'm Stripe. My character's name is Stripe.
I had Stripe wrote down, but I saw Stitches,
like,
so I was like, oh,
we're just gonna go with it. She's the actress. No, I'm not the smart one of the troupe. Let's put it at that. I am kind of like the feral animal one. So me knowing words kind of feels on brand, and we'll just say that it was a character choice. It was.
Stripe just wants to be
Stripe. I do. I'm a cosplayer. What can I say? At the end of the day, I'm cosplaying. Okay, wait. I could do this. Here we go. Okay, that never happened. Right. What are we talking about?
Hey, look, it's Stripe.
Stripe's joined the channel.
Speaking
of Stripe, I kicked out the imposter the entire time.
Well, welcome,
Speaking
Stripe.
Did you have any influence on the character creation of it?
We definitely did. When the characters themselves were created, we definitely got like the first kind of looks at them. I was lucky to be, there was definitely some characters who got casted and recasted again even. But I was lucky enough that like when Andrew had the idea for the project, he immediately thought of me included in that handful of girls. So my art never changed really. He sent it to me. He said, what do you think? Is there anything that you would change? Anything that you don't like? And I was like, I love it. There was one thing I was going to change. I said, hey, if I'm going to be bringing in a lot of my own wardrobe for things, and obviously there's going to be things that just have to be made based on what they are. I have a really cool pair of like thigh high platform demonia boots that I think would just be so badass. And he was like, oh, absolutely, that would be badass. However, demonia did not really exist in the 80s. Those are very iconic boots, and their platforms might pose a little bit of a safety hazard for you. I said, you got me there. Fair enough. So that's probably the one thing. But we definitely had a lot of input in pretty much every step of the process. When we filmed, all edits of the script came through us multiple times. We all chimed in, and I was actually the one who posited the idea that when we learned that the bus of that we were taking to con had crashed, I said, wouldn't it be funny if we just kind of sprinkle in later in that it was actually them that caused the bus to crash? This was not something that just happened and they stumbled upon a group of dead women, that they were actually very much the cause of the evil that they thought that they were reconciling or, working to overcome. And he's like, I like that. So yeah, we definitely all got to be a big part of it in multiple aspects.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, that it's always good to collaborate and work together, especially
Yeah.
when you're working. That's what I've always heard from all the like directors and people I've interviewed. Is it's always a great when everybody collaborates, because a movie is not just one person telling everybody what to do. It's a movie. It's the director, it's the actors, it's the people behind the scenes, the people holding the cameras, people holding the mics, and the lighting and special effects. So teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
As they say, no I in it.
Exactly, exactly. But with all that, did you guys like with the women?
Mhm.
Was it was it just like uncontrollable, just like going out there and just doing it, just like doing your thing, man? On set, that's got to be an incredible feeling.
It was definitely a lot of fun. As I said, a lot of the girls that were in the project I had known beforehand, so this to me was just a really fun opportunity to kiki with my girls. One of the characters that ended up getting recasted was Stitches, ha ha ha, that I am not. And Andrew was like, "Oh my goodness, the person that we had to do this can't do it anymore. Do you know anyone that you would like to have?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Can we pretty please get Stephanie Michelle in here?" So I was so happy that she got to be part of the project too, and she did an amazing job. She looked so cool in her makeup and her outfit, and it was just like a really good time. I was like, it was a bit of a hangout. It was a key, truly and honestly. There were a couple of girls that I had met through the project that I love dearly and can't wait to hang out with again. It was just a real great time. I will say that all 2 days really that we as the girls were filming, we were all always there, but we really filmed kind of half and half just to kind of make it easier on the makeup artists, and so it wasn't waiting for 7 different girls to all have their makeup just right so that we could get that scene in, or else it would have definitely been a lot more than 19 hours that I filmed. But it was, yeah, it was a great
Yeah.
time.
Well, I appreciate your time, Bunny. Thank you, Dan, for co-hosting with me as always. But as we get ready to close this out, is there anything you want to plug and tell people, where to find Frankenbabes, where to find you, or anything like that, as we close this out?
Yes. So Frankenbabes currently is getting shopped around to film festivals and things. So if you have film festivals near you, horror conventions and things, you might see some stuff there going on. In the meantime, frankenbabes.com will be your one-stop shop until it's kind of just released to everybody else. I am Bunny Black. You can find me at bunnyblack.com. And that's where most of my things are from there. I think that's probably the easiest hub to find me. And it is Bunny Black with an I instead of a Y, because I belong in everything. Ha ha ha.
I like that. I like that. Thank you
Right.
very much, Bunny, for your time. And this was a great conversation. I truly appreciate it. And to everybody out there that's watching, make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Go check out Bunny Black and Frankenbabes and get in on all that. So we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for having me, guys.
It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.